Okay, here is some music theory stuff, like we went over in our lesson Friday. Half and whole step patterns with the major scale. Goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, and you can take that in a million different ways. So let's take a look at what a whole step and a half step is on the guitar. Let me just put my finger on the 5th fret of the A string. That note right there. Okay? A whole step is whenever I go up 2 frets. Okay? Half step, I go up 1 fret. Okay? So, knowing that, the formula for the major scale, if I played it up and down 1 string, like this, 5th fret on the A string, I've got note D, whole step, I'm going to E, A, E, whole step, I'm at F sharp, half step, I'm at G, whole step, A, whole step, B, whole step, C sharp, half step, D. And it's the exact same descending. Half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, step, half step, whole step, whole step, like that. Okay? That's doing it all up and down 1 string. Now, understanding the relationship between each set of strings will give you the ability to go in and out of all the strings playing the scale no matter where you're at in the fretboard. So check it out. Here's how you want to look at it. Knowing the notes will help. Okay, so let's try this. D, 5th fret, A string, D. Go up a whole step, you're at E. Go up a whole step, you're at F sharp. Okay? Now just because we feel like it, playing the rest of these notes on that string, we know that this G is your next note. There's also a G right here on the 5th fret D string. Okay, check that out. The 10th fret A string and the 5th fret D string are the same note, just different spots. Right? Okay. So, you can use this to get around. D, E, F sharp, G. That is whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, right? That's what we have left in our formula, is whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That means we can take this, and we start that right here. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Let me get up closer. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. If we combine that with what we have on the A and the D string, whole step, half step. Just play that instead. Whole step, half step. From here to there is a half step. Pretty wild, huh? Even though these notes physically on the fretboard are far apart because they're on different strings, pitch-wise, these notes couldn't be any more next to each other. So we continue the scale. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay? And if you're thinking, okay, so that means that there's 2 ways to divide a scale like that in the fretboard, is what you're saying? It's like, no. There's countless ways to do it. You know, I could go. It goes on forever. I'm using the same whole step, half step formula. A good homework assignment for someone who's really curious about how the guitar works is to look at all the notes and on the fretboard and plot them out like maybe on paper. And just write down on the paper, frets 1 through 12. This fret equals that note. This fret equals that note. And I can walk you through how to do that. How back up some and make it probably easier to visualize. At least frets 0 through 12 right here. There we go. You can get everything right there. On the high E string, a high open E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Okay? So you get all that going. That gives you a lot right there. Eventually, your life's goal is to be able to spit these notes out. And I'm still working on it. It's kind of like Othello. It will take you the rest of your life to get better at this. The big thing I know is that these notes go in a certain pattern. There's 7 notes from musical alphabet, and there's 5 flats and sharps between those, basically. You know, we designate B and E as typically not being notes that we say as being flat or sharp. C, D, and then F, G, and A are commonly notes that we'll say those as being flat or sharp. And this pattern goes no matter which string you're on. Check it out, like the B string. Okay, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. Okay? That's frets 0 through 12 on the B string. On the G string, it's G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Like that. And by the way, when you go backwards, you use the exact same note names, like G, F sharp, F, E, D sharp, D, C sharp, C, B, A sharp, A, G sharp, G. Really and truly, you want to think in flats when you go back down, but this is a whole lot to get for just right now, you know. So think in sharps if it's any easier going backwards. Later on, we'll convert to flats. D string, same story. D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Okay? And then A string, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And then the low E string is the same as the high E string. So you're all good to go there. Alright? And you take that whole step, half step formula and apply it. Check it out. In the high E string, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's an E major scale. Do it on the B string. B, C sharp. That's a whole step. B, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Follow that same formula. That makes it a B major scale. It's a formula that whatever note you plug it into, that becomes the name of the scale. Okay, kind of like algebra. And this pattern, I could sit here and go over the other strings too, and you know, go on for a long time, but it works exactly that way. And we see how a lot of these strings share the same notes. I do that for everyone. I show them how, hey, there's this one note that's got 4 spots on the guitar. Isn't that crazy? You know, all the other notes, they'll share like at least 2 or 3 spots. Notes down here, you know, A and down like that, there aren't other spots for them on the guitar beyond that. Everything else has like a neighboring spot on the guitar. And using knowledge of where the notes are, you can play this formula up and down one string. This way, you can do it diagonally. There's all kinds of different ways you can do this. And, you know, deeper into our lessons we get, we'll discover a lot more about this. And you'll be able to build chords, play solos, really get around on the guitar.